Have you ever taken someone up on an offer of, well, if there's anything I can do to help, let me know, and if so, how did it end up? Years ago, when my dad died, his right-hand man at work offered to do anything to help us. We found out we had to move on 24 hours notice, 400 miles away. Mom was too hesitant to ask. We didn't have any options on so little time. So I insisted she call him. He shows up, not 4 hours later, with literally everyone from his job site. With all their pickups and a few small moving trucks trailers. We vacated within 24 hours easily. I've completely lost touch with them, but I'll never forget them for doing that. It was completely surprising to me because that guy had complained about my dad quite a few times, but always helped him out, even when doing personal things for him on his off days. A relative of an acquaintance needed help recovering family photos from a broken PC. I was just going to do a quick repair and bill the guy, but I felt really bad for him, so I took the extra time to consult him about backing up data and suggested an external drive. We found one for him, but he was waffling on the price, so I cut his bill down a bit and told him to just order it while I was there. At that point I think he realized I wasn't benefiting from any further contact, and he offered to help me out if I ever needed a hand with anything electrical as he was a retired electrician. Short version is I had some light switches that when flicked would flicker several other rooms nearby lights. I asked this guy if he could just come assess what I needed and what it should cost for me whenever he had time. He came over for about 30 minutes, tinkered with the wall plates and set, I don't know, then went home having repaid his blood debt. This is a reverse story. Someone on Facebook was trying to get out of an abusive relationship. She had left the person many times only to come back to the person. I knew the person from years before, but I really only knew her through a friend. I had seen the person in real life maybe twice. I gave the offer if there is anything I can do for you in a Facebook message. To my surprise she said yes, can I stay with you for a few months? I said sure since I had the spare room and my friend that was close friends with her said she was a good person. I let her into my home for 4 months. In that time she had a friend come over for her birthday, and little did I know I would be meeting my future wife and life mate. We have now been together for 8 years with our love going strong. So my offer really paid off in my case, despite the fact I was really scared to have this relative stranger move into my spare bedroom. My friend was right. She is a good person. Unfortunately she did move back in with the abusive boyfriend for about a year until another situation broke out and she moved out permanently. She is now in a new relationship in a different part of the country with someone else and has been for many years now. Someone who is not abusive. So hooray for both of us. A relative of mine had passed away, leaving me the entire estate. Part of that was a boat. When I was at the house sorting things out, a neighbor came over and introduced himself. I hadn't met him before, as he had just moved in a year earlier. At one point, we ended up talking that boat. As we were talking, he said he had to get back to the wife and to let him know if there was anything he could do. Jokingly, I asked him if he wanted to buy the boat and gave him a price. He sort of laughed as most people would do. About an hour later, he sent me a text asking if I was serious about selling the boat. When he left, he went straight home and asked his wife and then went to the bank to get the money. I said yes, and he had the money to me that evening and took possession of the boat. I have a somewhat similar story. My neighbors have called the cops a bunch of times about us having a trailer with an excavator parked in our yard. If you're curious, check my post history. Well, a couple months ago, on a Friday, I found out I owed $1,800 to something because MoneyGram sucks, and I had no clue how I was gonna come up with it over the weekend. My so had parked his work van where we usually put the trailer, and my asshole neighbors called the cops and said it was abandoned. The chief of police came out and he's awesome. He's in his 70s and I've known him for over a decade. I had a Thunderbird that he always asked me if I wanted to sell it, and I would always give him a very unreasonable price. We'd laugh, and that was it. This time when he asked I gave him a very reasonable price and he said, I'll be up tomorrow to get it. So that's the story of how my asshole neighbors actually helped me out by calling the cops on me.